everybody, and welcome back to another video. Recently just gotten some big news surrounding the current status of the Wings of Fire show. 𝙈𝙤𝙡𝙍𝙬, a prominent figure in the Wings of Fire community, had the chance to talk to Tui about the show at a recent convention. Her video was incredibly informative and touched on some of the questions we've been asking for a long time now, so I'd recommend checking it out. There will be a link in the description. But unfortunately, things aren't looking too good right now. Before we begin, a huge shout out to my patrons. Crazy Roblox Man, 𝙈𝙤𝙍𝙁𝙍, and 3 Moons. Thank you so much for supporting me. Links to their social medias are in the description down below. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. A little less than a year ago, the Wings of Fire show, originally going to air on Netflix, was cancelled. The whole community felt this loss, and things seemed hopeless for a long time after. However, 4 months ago, we got a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Tui came out saying that she was looking for a new streaming service to put the show on. Fans were really excited at the possibility of the production's return, and things seemed great for a while. But again, we are left in the dark for a long time. Until now. 𝙈𝙤𝙍𝙬 got the chance to meet and talk with Tui at a recent book and science fiction convention. She managed to record some of the conversation and ask some pretty important questions, all of which were featured in her most recent video. So here's the unfortunate news. The Wings of Fire show is currently at a standstill. Tui and her team were hoping to pitch the show to HBO Max after the Netflix cancellation because Warner Brothers was the producer of the show. However, many popular streaming services and distributors are going through some pretty bad financial problems right now, which is one of the reasons why so many shows, especially animated ones, have been getting cancelled left and right on many services. Tui and her team are currently trying to wait it out and decide when will be the right time to repitch the show. So until these problems get resolved, any kind of move in the production is unfortunately going to have to remain paused. It's just a waiting game now. So if things do get resolved and the show can be repitched, the most likely place we'll end up on is HBO Max because they're owned by Warner Brothers, which already has the producing rights. Us being left in the dark isn't Tui's fault. In fact, she only knows pretty much what we do. She thinks Ava DuVernay is still involved as it was Warner Brothers that brought her on and not Netflix. And according to Tui as well, the showrunners really do want to continue production, so everyone seems to be on board with continuing the show. It's just a waiting game right now until Tui and her team can hear what happens. She did mention that another place she would love to see the show end up on would be Disney+. Tui also shared some of the difficulties of working on the show, especially when it came to trying to determine who they would want to voice act. Nobody had ever been officially cast, but the team did try and figure out who would be the most ideal for each character. Clay seemed to be the hardest one for them to try and figure out who would voice him. One concern I know many people had when the show was first announced was how much creative control the author would have. Tui did open up about this, saying that she did get a lot of updates and was included a lot, but she felt as though if she ever did demand something to be changed, they probably wouldn't have done it. The showrunners really wanted Tui's involvement, showing her the scripts and art every month. She did say that there were some smaller things she asked to have changes for, and they worked with her on them and really took her opinions into account. So that's pretty much it regarding the current status of the show and the things that happened during production. So we unfortunately won't be getting the show for a long time if it does become a reality. At least Tui and her team are still thinking about it and actively wanting to repitch it. Thankfully though, this isn't all. A long time back, there was some concept art that got leaked. I never wanted to post about it in a video since the show was in some hot water at the time, but I think we should be okay to bring some of this up. I don't want to include any of the actual photos just so Warner Brothers doesn't try and take this down, but 𝙈𝙤𝙍𝙬's video has a ton of it. And let me tell you, it's all gorgeous. It has some of the early stages of the 3D models for the Dragonets of Destiny, some beautiful background art of the kingdoms, a few different scrolls, and other test art of things like fire and decorations. Seeing all this, some again, others for the first time, just brought back my faith and excitement about this show. Fingers crossed that production can continue, and we'll get to see this someday. The leaked concept art made me realize just how boring I imagined certain locations while reading. To cover something more recent, a little over a week ago, a leaked animatic of a scene from the Wings of Fire show was uploaded online and came out of nowhere. Traces of it have been since removed by Warner Brothers for copyright reasons, which is why I unfortunately cannot share it. But there are still some photos circulating around the internet. It featured the scene in Book 1 where the Dragonets of Destiny tried creating the smoke signal for Clay. I was lucky to be able to view this before its deletion, and let me tell you guys, it was super cool. The art style and rough character designs were certainly very unique. This leaked animatic is definitely real due to, as Bio has already pointed out, the fact that Clay's model in it resembles the one from the concept art. Plus, it also being removed by Warner Brothers pretty much confirms this fact. But like I said before, as disappointing as the news surrounding the show's current status is, it's great to know that Tui and her team are trying to get the show repitched. There is still hope, so I think it's safe to say that the show isn't going anywhere, even if it does take a long time to come to our screens. But anyway, that's it for this video. How excited are you to possibly see the show someday, and would you give it a watch? Let me know down below. I think the show would be a great gift to fans, while also introducing so many others to the community. Just stay patient, you guys. We're in this together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.